Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We've covered this week's X-Men and Star Wars books so far. Now it's time for this week's Spider-Man and Avengers titles. Kicking things off, we've got Amazing Spider-Man number 93, the conclusion of Spider-Man Beyond. Where we left off, Peter Parker had gone to confront Ben Reilly, Spider-Man versus Spider-Man. Ben, however, was wrecking house on his way through the Beyond Tower. So we start off with some flashbacks, talking about, showing things like Peter giving Ben the house that letting Ben stay in Ben and May's house, and interspersed with a fight between MJ and Ben. There's one of the memories is seeing the family picture of Ben, May, and Peter, and they don't have faces. But among the things that are, among those placed in his between Ben and the Beyond Corporation are the Slingers, who Ben is making short work of, while Marcus and Maxine are planning to Maxine is planning to clean slate everything, while Marcus is having some second thoughts about things. But they've got something that they can utilize to Maxine has a device you can utilize as bait. It's got supposedly has memories in it, the unmodified memories, or at least a way to get them from Peter. Maxine tells Marcus that since he's been of great service to her, she ordered the kill team to make it look like an accident. No alcohol involved, which is a higher level of difficulty and carries more risk. So she hopes he sees it as the reward that it is. Open casket, so his family won't be ashamed. But Ben and Peter finally cross paths, and of course turns into a fight. Janine saves Marcus with a weapon called beyond what we know as the Infantilizer, and like I said, fight between this Spider-Man versus Spider-Man fight. Maxine addresses the board about what's going on. They try to kill her, but she's using a hologram, so Peter reveals that he's figured his way around Ben's various tricks, while Marcus has initiated the scrub of the building's lower levels at least, which constitutes of flooding the lower levels with quantum shifting polymers in a psychoreactive medium. It's a goo that confuses and rewrites matter, destroys evidence. Not great for people either. But the helmet gets destroyed, and Ben's mad. And in the end, he just lets the goo eat him, or go over him, while the lower floors of the building vanish and the building is now shorter, which some passersby notices it becomes shorter. We get some epilogues. May, MJ, the Doctor, and Marcus dealing with Peter have been brought in. Janine looking for Ben, and seemingly finding him. That's days. Weeks later, MJ and Peter are together, and they're working, they're exercising together, at least, like going on runs, and but she and as he's leaving, MJ tells Peter that she thinks he should stay for good. And as he's about to agree, there's a bright flash out the window, and someone says, "A road of blood led to you. Come with me." And then we have months. Ben is still having issues with himself, and the psychoreactive goo didn't help. Him and Janine are together, and he's trying to fix his memory problem, but he's taken on a new costumed identity. Chasm. Stating, Ben is gone, and where Ben was, there's only a chasm. Which, to look at our new spider villain. Kind of sad that didn't. I was hoping that Beyond would end with Ben and Peter working together. Okay, sure, having a bit of a slugfest, but working together and taking down Beyond. But well, it was great. It was a really good story. A good conclusion. I'm not entirely sure if we're going to be picking up the next issue of Amazing Spider-Man, which will actually be Amazing Spider-Man #1. Which comes out next month, at some point. I'm not sure if we'll be picking that up or not. I'll probably flip through it and decide there. A sticking point for me with Amazing Spider-Man has been One More Day, which still is still in effect. So, yeah. Well, I'll see how I feel about it. They're at least putting Peter and MJ back together. So, well, sort of. It's complicated. But yeah, Beyond was great. I loved it. I loved the story. It was fun. It was just Oh, wait a minute. I thought there was another epilogue I missed. Or was that? Okay, that was in the BEY. That was in 92 BEY. There was an aftermath with Queen Goblin. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Miles Morales Spider-Man #36. Now, the last few issues have been tie-ins to Beyond, and kind of been dealt with cheap paper, with the fact that Beyond wanted Miles to stop calling himself Spider-Man. Anyway, him and Shift infiltrated the Staten Island location well before Monica and Aaron blew it up, as seen in Amazing 92.BEY. But yeah, and they discovered basically a room full of dimensional monitors, and on one of them they found Uncle Aaron, and so Miles' plan is to bring back his Uncle Aaron. They basically get a holographic Clippy, and they go through and start following Aaron's trail. They end up in a more Wild West themed world. The Rhino is a brute with strapped on armor and a horned helmet. Miles and Shift take them down pretty quickly. And then they come upon King from Exiles. I can't begin to describe how happy I am to see King. King was in the last run of Exiles. He's T'Challa from a Wild West, a Earth where the present is Wild West. But he knows he has a rudimentary knowledge of the multiverse, and so Miles, King, and Shift deal with Marshall Stone, that Earth's tombstone, and then Miles and Shift go through a portal and end up on Spider-Ham's Earth. Thing is, their monitor is now shaped like a crayon, and so it's suggested by Spider-Ham that they draw the portal, and so Shift does so, and it works. And now they end up on a zombie Earth. They run from the zombies, doing the smart thing, and they get to the portal, and they end up in some sort of, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be another Earth, the remains of another Earth, or what. But they're not alone there. That's Ultimatum. The original Miles Morales of Earth 616 is waiting for them, and that is where the issue ends. Yeah, I'm in. As I've stated on numerous occasions, I love multiverse stories. So yeah, Miles tumbling through the multiverse, I'm here for it. Absolutely here for it. But yeah, I'm digging this. I'm curious to see. I already previous have already kind of stated a bit of where it goes. You're going to end up on a world that the clone of Miles, Selim, has taken over. So that'll. But I want to see I'm interested to see the steps leading to that. I'm hoping that it'd be nice to. It would be nice to see Miles bring home his Uncle Aaron. Moving on to our next book, we've got Captain Marvel number 37. Where we left off, Vox Supreme still had managed to escape, but things seem to be. But again, Carol had a victory. So we got our between arc breathing issue. In New York, Carol and Monica are dealing with more snaps, and there's a leader who declares there are also snap men. But before he can finish his monologue, Binary shows up and destroys and attacks him, and they push him back to the portal, and day is saved. But Binary hits a bystander who honestly is kind of a jerk to Carol, and it's decided that Binary needs to be better integrated into human society. More case of she needs to have a better understanding of things. And, and so Monica and Carol borrow Tony Stark's car and go to a diner. Binary just discovers she likes pancakes, and also she likes kittens and children. But then the Snapmen return, and so Carol, Monica, and Binary deal with them. But during everything, the kitten died, and so Carol, Monica, and Binary bury the kitten, and they explain why that because there are beings that are not as resilient as Carol, Binary, and Monica, they the three of them, among others, like them, need to protect the rest of the people. And so, instead to try dancing though, to make Binary feel better. She's sad in Vegas, and of course, L'Oreal, Carol's sister, has brought some reinforcements in cocktail dresses. Hazmat, Jessica Drew, and She-Hulk. And so, yeah, they dance, with Binary asking if dancing is why we live, and Jessica says, yes, yes it is. She knows about chicken fighting. And they have a great time, and then they return to Carol's apartment. Though Binary is aware that Chewie is a flurkin, not a cat. And L'Oreal gives Binary some advice. Do not watch a show called The Bachelor on the magic screen. It will bring you only heartache and pain. Apparently, one of the contestants has had her. L'Oreal has decided to avenge. Has vowed to avenge her honor. And then, but Carol then disappears, seemingly at the hands of the Snapmen. And that is where the issue ends. I'm liking this, the way that this is more about the entire series than about just a single issue. But I'm liking this concept of we get a story arc followed by a downtime issue and then a new story arc. I like that. That's something I honestly wish every comic book writer would do. It's nice to see the downtime of the characters too. You know, it's like, but it was a fun issue though. It really was. So yeah. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Iron Fist #2, where we left off. Lin Lei has become the new Iron Fist, and he has the shards of his magical sword, some of them at least, stuck in his hands. But he's able. But we begin with another warrior attempting the trials of Shulao the Undying. And in Shanghai, Lin Lei and Mei Min are dealing with some of the demons related to Lin Lei, or to Lin Lei's origins. And they save a shard of the sword, and then return to Kunlun. Apparently, though, they got caught on social media, and so Danny, the former Iron Fist, is curious to who it is, explaining that seeing the new Iron Fist in action made him feel old. And he misses having that much cartilage between his joints. And he asks if back pain is normal, and it is, except for Luke. But Danny's trying to find out who this new Iron Fist is, and he has an idea. In Kunlun, Yang Yi and some of the others, others that have trained their entire lives to be Iron Fists, stop Lin Lei and, well, challenge him to a fight. But then Thunderer, UT, or Sparrow, UT, stops the fight. And Mei Min tells Li Ling of fudge. Mei Min tells Lin Lei of Wu Shi, famous pirate queen and one of the only few women to become an immortal Iron Fist. She could channel her chi into her arrows and once use them to burn down an entire fleet of ships. Somehow over the centuries, women were forbidden from participating in trials and then from fighting altogether. Her memory became a liability, and she was proof to Mei Min that their history, of her history, and a symbol of what they could become again. Adding that, times change and so do we. UT Sparrow explains that Mei Min is right, and wants to help. Basically, wants to help Lin Lei truly become the Iron Fist. He's already got the chi of Shu Lao, so kind of going through everything else. But she has that recovery isn't only about restoring what you have lost. It's about building new ways of being and accepting the person you become through hardship. Gives him a sword and tells him not to be afraid of failure. If you got to swing a sword, practice lifting it instead. Building strength is a process. When you can rely on your body, it is far easier to be confident in your skills. Fixing the flow of his chi is going to be harder. So the sacred sword shard is disrupting his energy pathways through the body, which is why he can't channel Shu Lao's chi consistently. It builds up and misfires. This is a new way of training an Iron Fist, but new isn't necessarily bad. It's just different. And he's told as the Iron Fist, he must treat himself as precious. He is the vessel and guardian of Kunlun's most precious treasure, their dragon. Therefore, he must treat himself as precious and allow those around him to do the same. But during his training, the shards start burning. And at the first tomb of Chi Yu, there's Dark Destroyer, God of War, it is being opened by Lin Fang, who's here to take what's his from his brother. And that is where the issue ends. I'm really digging this series. It's good. I love it. I'm really digging it. I like the new Iron Fist. I still do wish there was a new character altogether, but it does kind of help for it to be a somewhat established character in the form of Swordmaster, so that it makes it easier to latch on to, because, or at least for me, because I've read stuff with Swordmaster previously. So yeah. Anyway, moving on to our last book for the moment, we got Spider-Woman number 21. Sadly, the final issue of this current Spider-Woman series. So where we left off, the anti-Iraq 9 had attacked Jess at her apartment. Dun dun dun. Okay. And so, while picking up pizza, while she's picking up the pizza that's being delivered, so she deals with everything. And to be perfectly honest, the best part, as much as I do enjoy this issue, the best part is definitely the notes between I think it's between the writer Carla Pacheco and let's see, and L and and the editor Nick Lowe. But and of course, Jess's commentary is just absolutely hilarious. Yeah, she humiliates the the Brothers Grimm. She breaks Lady Bullseye's arm. But yeah, almost everyone's almost completely taken down, with Rebecca, Spider-Woman's niece, showing up with her own dinosaur with Gatling gun arms. I mean, just how freaking cool is that? But Jess gets briefly jealous of the fact that her brother has webbing. The monster truck driver, who is probably the most successful at going after Jess, reconsiders everything. Has a vision of his dead love, telling him, explaining to him that monster trucks are not intended for revenge. The crazy goat is meant to be a vessel of their love. And so he switches sides. And Octavia has stolen the Gatling gun dinosaur. So the crazy goat crashes into Octavia and the Gatling gun dinosaur. With Jess finishing off Octavia and Carol calling a cleanup team or whatever. But Jess and Lindsay have to head to Madripoor, which is sadly where the series ends. I'm gonna miss this book. I really am. It was always so much fun to read, and this was no exception. I think they managed to reference every single issue. Maybe not every single. I don't think there was any references made to the King in Black tie-ins, but that's it. Most of the 21 issue run, including the 21st issue itself. But that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.